Hello, this is Pastor Frank Lee Castellian Sr. coming at you again with another Sunday School moment. Today's date is July the 4th, 2021, and today our Sunday School lesson is an attitude of gratitude, coming from the 17th chapter of Luke. And I want to say happy Independence Day to everybody out there celebrating our wonderful country, and thank God for this country. Now, this week's Sunday school lesson is talking about the 10 lepers that were healed by Jesus. We know that 10 of them were healed. 9 of them did not come back to thank Jesus, but one of them did. And I'd like to focus in on that one that came back to see Jesus on a couple of issues of that. Now, here's the thing about it. First of all, that one that came back was not Jewish. He was a Samaritan. Now, what did he have in common with the other 9 who were Jewish? We know that Samaritans were an outcast from the Jews. And being that they were outcasts, they were considered sinful people and unacceptable people in the Jewish community. Now, that was one mark that he had against himself. The other mark he had against himself was that he was a leper. Lepers were outcasts, period, from people because of their leprosy. But what he had in common with the other 9 was that leprosy was what made him an outcast, just like the other 9. Now, being that they have that in common, that's what brought them together. And that's what also caused them to look to Jesus and call out to Jesus for help. But only the Samaritan came back. The other 9 did not. When you think about it, you think about that the other 9 were Jewish. They should have known better to come back than that one who was already the outcast from beforehand. But now let's take a look at this. First of all, what makes us all have in common before we come to Jesus? Leprosy is a representation and symbolic of sin. Sin is a part of our lives. Even after we accept Christ as our Savior, sin is still a part of our life because sin is in our daily activities in trying to rule us and control us. But here's the difference. The difference is once we come to Christ, sin no longer has dominion over us. And we don't have that in common anymore with the sinful people. So now, when they were in common in being delivered, why weren't they in common in being grateful? When we find what we have in common, and that one thing that we have in common is Jesus Christ, Him crucified, buried, and risen again. Sin brings us together in our commonality of being sinful people. Jesus brings us into commonality in being that He delivered us from that sin. But why can't we be more grateful together in the same attitude? In other words, this man was outcast for 2 reasons. Number 1, being a Samaritan. Number 2, being a leper. These other 9 were only outcast for one reason, and that's because of the leprosy. You may be outcast only because of your sin. But once you're delivered by Jesus, nothing else matters. Because you are not an outcast anymore, but you are accepted into the royal family of Jesus Christ. If you want the Christian church to come together, let's find what we have in common. And what we have in common is that we couldn't deliver ourselves from sin, but that Jesus is the one who delivered us. And since Jesus is the one that delivered us having that commonality should bind us closer together in our gratitude to Jesus. Because he died on the cross, he went down into hell, and on the third day got up with all power in his hand so that we can be delivered from the penalty of sin. And being that that's what we have in common, that's what should make us more grateful to Jesus Christ for saving our soul. Thank you very much. God bless you, and I'll see you in Sunday school.